Jesus does not make the principle briefly so that it can just be allegorized away. Rather, he goes to some length and detail, making the same point in several ways to emphasize that no matter how anyone might choose to spin it, he did not abolish the Torah and the prophets. Together with, when those two words are used together, it's referring to the entire Old Testament. But also not even the tiniest detail of the Torah would be dropped or changed until the current universe and earth no longer exist. So it just doesn't hang together scripturally that Christ could make this strong statement and expand upon it in the Sermon on the Mount and supporting every aspect of the Torah and the law of Moses, and then turn around later and schizophrenically abolish the Torah food laws, which are central to it. But also notice one thing that I've already pointed out. The statement that he did not abolish the Torah or any part of it is a quote from Christ's own mouth. It's what he said. The statement in the book of Mark about Christ declaring all foods ritually clean, that did not come from Christ. Rather, those words were an editorial assumption coming from the mind of Mark or from some later Christian editor who added those words to the verse. I'm going to take that one step farther. Those words in Mark formed the entire basis for a Christian tradition of the elders, a man-made church doctrine that's been handed down, that declares that kosher eating has been abolished. This is then further expanded by the church to say that if the food laws have been abolished, then this is the needed proof that the entire law of Moses has also been abolished, even though this seems to thoroughly contradict the words from the mouth of God on earth, Jesus. This is precisely the same issue. It's the irony of it. This is precisely the same issue Yeshua is battling with the Pharisees and the scribes. It's the same thing. They are advocating for their Jewish tradition of the elders, a man-made synagogue doctrine about ritual hand washing. That, according to Yeshua, thoroughly contradicts the words of God. Why am I so confident about what I'm telling you today in the face of centuries of church doctrine to the contrary? And that this passage is about one thing only, a tradition of ritual hand washing. It's because the final verse of the passage confirms it. Matthew 15:20. These are what really make a person unclean. But eating without doing netilat yadayim, that does not make a person unclean. That's what it's all been about. See, the final thought about this episode with the synagogue leaders and ritual hand washing confirms that Yeshua did not create some new sweeping rule, some new law to replace, kind of like a law of Jesus that replaces the law of Moses. He didn't make an 11th commandment, or he didn't reduce the number to 9. He didn't institute any change to the Torah. Rather, he's attacking those particular Jewish traditions that either contradict the Word of God, the written Torah, or twist the intended meaning of God's laws and commands to suit human purposes.